all's well with everybody. We're gonna get started for today. I'm sitting on my shares. Just 1 minute, and then we'll get started. And for everybody who does not know who I am, hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. I'm here to support you in understanding exactly what is going on with our health and making the connections with emotional intelligence, harmony and sync, and bridging the gap using science, psychology, and understanding exactly your pain points and getting to the root cause of why you're dealing with these, and then helping us be able to find the habits that help us align with the health the journey that we are searching for, that we've been seeking for, and we haven't been finding. So today we're going to be talking about moving away from chaos, the chaotic drive, and moving into long game, which is long game alignment, and understanding how to keep and sustain the alignment. Because many of us are dealing with the issue of constantly pushing, making this endless journey for ourselves of constantly grinding, going back and forth with diet culture, feeling like we don't know what to do anymore, and having that out-of-body experience. And so since you're having that out-of-body experience, what your reaction to do is for you to sit back and say, well, there's nothing I can do. This is a part of being a woman. This is a part of what my body does. Hormones are going to fluctuate, and making the things that you're dealing with that are common, making them the norm. When they're not the norm. They're common for women to have hormonal imbalances. It's common for women to have irregular cycles. It's common for you to be dealing with the issues of waking up with no energy, but it's not normal for you to be dealing with these things. The norm is for your body to be giving back to you, not taking away. So when you have that issue and you feel like your body is turning against you, when you feel like your body is fighting you, it's not about the fact that you're lacking discipline and that you have no motivation. But a lot of people aren't set up for success. And so your lifestyle is tailored to the poisonous habits that you have. And your lifestyle is tailored to you doing and following diet culture. And so when you think that your hustling equals your health and your support for your healing system, you are going to consistently have to work harder for you to be able to eat cleaner, for you to restrict more, for you to push through your cardio, for you to fast longer. And the results will come, but they won't be sustainable. The results will come. You'll lose weight. You'll feel better. You'll look better for that moment. But what happens when you get tired of doing hustle culture? As a woman, we go through a 26 to 31 day cycle. So what happens when you finally hit that point where you need to rest, where you need to relax, where you need to reset? Are you going to just continuously hustle through that? Or is your body going to go, well, I've been hustling for 20 something days in a row. It's time for me to rest. And I don't think I can put my energy towards me eating healthy today. So then now you go back to your old habits and you're eating meat, even though you've been eating plant-based for 20 something days, right? And then you're on your cycle and you're trying to figure out why it's so painful, why you're irregular. You're trying to figure out why you're so inflamed now and you're bloated. And you're trying to pinpoint it to your cycle itself. You're like, oh, well, I'm on my cycle, right? I'm bleeding, I'm menstruating. But you're not realizing that it's because of the instability in your habits that have made you go up and down with your habits. And so you were no longer in a sustainable place for your health. And so in return, now you're dealing with the exhaustion and what is left over from exhaustion, which is you keeping yourself in a chaotic loop of a chaotic drive, and that is masculine. You are in the masculine space, a high cortisol state. You're dealing with a whole bunch of progesterone and estrogens flowing through the body, and they're not balanced. And this is going to cause your energy to be in survival mode. This is deeper than just you leaking energy and not having any energy, so you need coffee. But understanding that you are in survival mode, and this is causing you to have burnout. This endless amount of burnout is coming from you not having that structure in your habits and sustainability. Angel, a lot of women operate here because we think that this is normal. It is common that women go through these things, but it is not normal for you to have the issues of what is stemming from the chaos, from what our habits, what our lifestyle has been trained into. Because when you are internally telling yourself that you have to keep pushing through survival mode, you are telling yourself, I cannot trust you. We're hormonally chaotic. And your mind is in overdrive. So your mind is already going to subconsciously keep training in, I cannot trust you with your habits. I cannot trust you with your mood. I cannot trust you with how you're feeling right now. Because you don't know what the body is supposed to naturally feel like. This is your norm. And so diet culture glorifies this. It sells you quick, fast solutions. It doesn't help you to connect with the body. When you sell results, this is not going to help you be able to restore what's going on inside the body. When you're telling somebody you can lose 10 pounds in 10 days, all you have to do is follow this diet. All you have to do is take this supplement. You're not going to get long-term sustainability in that space because you never changed what caused you to get here. And so you have to be weary, because I know a lot of people are weary about people selling courses online, people being, motivated online through some type of personal trainer and etc. Because there are a lot of scammers out here. But Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, keto, paleo, they've been doing this to y'all for years. Diet culture has been doing this for years. And so when people backtrack and they're telling you the reason why you're not able to get the health that you've been looking for in the space that you're looking for it in is because of X, Y, and Z, you don't trust us. And it's not because what we're telling you is not going to work, but it's because what you've been doing has not worked. Because diet culture is not designed around actually helping you be healthy. It's designed around you getting your momentary goal, which is losing 10 pounds in 10 days. You being able to take this supplement and help your A1C lower. And so then you do what they tell you to do, but it doesn't change the outcome of your health because they didn't put you in a sustainable place by changing your habits. Every other day I go on a health journey and then give up after a week. And that's exactly what diet culture teaches, is that you're going to do this for a week, you're going to do this for a couple of days, you're going to do this for a month, and then after that go back to your old lifestyle, because this is how it works. This is how you're able to have that what is it called, where you're able to have your cake and eat it too. You can have that little balance of what they think is balance, which is taking care of yourself sometimes and then putting your health on the back burner when it becomes inconvenient. But that's not how this works. When you are in the space of wanting to actually take measures for you to be in the space that is not only physically, emotionally, and mentally healthy, but also spiritually aligned with what your body needs as a woman, then you understand that you have to stop glorifying diet culture and you have to change your lifestyle. And I know that this makes a big of a difference because I'm somebody who's been plant-based for 5 years, and I know that that's not everybody's journey, but we have to know the reason why the earth produces vegetation, fruits and vegetables, seeded fruits and vegetables, is a reason for that, because it gives you what you're not getting with what diet culture promotes. It gives you hydration on a cellular level. It gives you oxygen on a cellular level. It stabilizes your brain. It stabilizes your gut. It stabilizes your internal organs so that you have balance, so that your hormones are balanced. But when you're following what diet culture teaches you, what the pyramids and the plates teach you, when they're telling you that meat is your main source, then you get your healthy fats, and you get your healthy amount of salts. You also add in the dairy a couple times a day, and you're following what they tell you to do. You're eating your grains, but you're limiting your grains, but it's just like a side of rice with your chicken. And then yet it's not working for you, and you're sitting back and you're trying to figure out why it's not working. It's because the lack of stability in the structure that you have. Because you are in the space right now, if you're following diet culture, you're following the space of stimulation. You're following the space of having no rhythm, but rushing, getting stimulation, and forcing the process to work. This is a consistent thing that you're doing, which raises your cortisol, and cortisol elevates your insulin. A lot of people don't realize that, but when you are in a high cortisol state, this is going to cause your insulin to also be spiked because it's putting your body in a stressed out environment. And so before you know it, your nervous system is fried. Your cycle is irregular, it's heavy, it's painful, you're having mood swings, your cravings spike, and you're trying to figure out why you're having all these intense cravings, so you're blaming it on the fact that you're about to menstruate. But you're not understanding you're having these intense cravings because you had no stabilizers for your blood sugar. And when you have no stabilizers for your blood sugar, it's going to cause you to crave what you're lacking. So it's pumping out insulin to get rid of, or it's pumping out the excess sugar, so it's raising your insulin. I was going to say estrogen. Your insulin, which is causing you to have all these cravings to try to replenish, because it's trying to get the nutrients that it's lacking. But you're never going to gain the nutrients that you are lacking by craving sugar and putting in more sugar, because that's what a lot of people do. After you eat a meal, your body craves sugar. You're like, oh, I really want something sweet. And you give yourself something sweet, and then it spikes your blood sugar even higher, which makes you push out more sugar. But this is not going to give you the nutrients that your body is craving. So all you're going to keep doing is being hungry. So you eat the sweet treat, and then 10 minutes later, you're like, man, I'm still hungry. And I can't figure out why. But it's because you're living in chaos. And your body is trying to figure out how to effectively communicate it to you. But instead of it being able to effectively communicate the chaos, all it can do is just pump out a whole bunch of confusion. So now you're having cravings. Now your hormones are all over the place. Now your gut is unstable. So you're not even absorbing the foods that you eat, but instead you're holding on to it, and your digestive tract is full of crap. And you overburden the liver by trying to filter out the excess hormones and the toxins, which is going to cause you to, in return, have bloating. You're going to be sitting here dealing with the excess weight gain, and you're trying to figure out why. You're going to be dealing with fatigue, because when the body is in a state where it cannot release and detoxify itself, you're going to be fatigued, because this is burnout. And this is what burnout looks like in the liver. And when you have burnout in the liver, this is also going to affect your digestive tract, like I talked about, which is going to cause you to be holding on to a bunch of crap. You are literally going to be filled with crap. And what thrives in a space full of rotting, decaying meat, crap, toxicity? Parasites. Parasites cause illnesses and diseases, chronic diseases to be specific, like cancer. So you really have to pinpoint why you're struggling so bad and what is happening. Because your pancreas starts struggling to regulate your insulin when you were eating all this sugar. And so now your pancreas is sitting here panicking, and it's pumping out all this excess insulin, and the liver is trying to detoxify all the excess hormones and the stress from the toxins. And so now you've just put your liver and your pancreas in a constant battle of having to stay alive and having to work overtime. And this is not even including what is going on with the gut, and how the gut, if it's disconnected, if it's not working properly, if the pH is not high enough, it disrupts the brain function. And when your brain function is disrupted, what happens? Anxiety, depression. Your adrenal glands cannot function the way that they're supposed to. And your adrenal glands is where your hormones are regulated. So if they're not regulated, you know what happens? You're going to be pumping out more cortisol. You're going to be sitting here dealing with the excess overload of androgens, because a lot of people don't realize what androgens are. But androgens is a stress hormone that pumps out from the body when you are not regulated inside of the brain. This is the same thing if you think about cortisol and how people are talking about how their cortisol is so high or it's so low and it's not balanced. But androgens is a separate hormone that mimics your reproductive hormones in women specifically, and you are going to develop things like fibroids and cysts. They like to talk about how women, when they hit their 50s, they're more likely to have fibroids, right? But you're not seeing that you've been pumping out androgens since the time that you were 20 years old, and you didn't realize after 30, 40, and you hit 50s that you've been in a hormonally chaotic state. This is what happens when you rely on a system that is not designed to help you be able to understand when the body is panicking and in danger versus when the body is telling you, I'm stabilized and I'm healthy. Because when you think these things are the norm, you're not going to have any regulation in your habits. When you think this is the norm, you are going to constantly think feeling disconnected from the body is because you're lacking discipline. When it's not, it's because you're not giving your body what it needs. So you have depleted every aspect of your organs working internally, externally, you having any energy and having any action towards your health. And mentally, you cannot get in I don't want to say controlled, but I want to say in a comfortable place. You cannot be comfortable in this space of feeling disconnected and depleted. Because it's not the fact that you're lacking discipline or motivation, but it's the lack of you understanding what disconnection and depletion feels like and looks like in the body. I really appreciate you guys for the likes. How are you doing? Happy Monday. You have to reframe how you view your health, because it's not about rushing your body into losing 10 pounds in 10 days, but it's about rebuilding trust within the body and understanding how you stabilize yourself. Knowing that starving yourself is making your body feel more out of control than you knowing how to nourish the body and to get into balance by eating. Because a lot of people think starving yourself is the way for you to lose weight, to look good, and to be healthy, right? Because you're calorie counting and restricting. But what you're not understanding is when you're already in a chaotic state where your gut is not absorbing nutrients the way that it should be, and you're not balanced, you are not going to be able to be in a healthy state in the mind, starving yourself and calorie counting and restricting and not having enough nutrients daily, even though you're eating. When you are not eating the foods that your body is actually needing for balance, you're not getting nutrients. You're not absorbing it correctly. So this is the reason why a lot of you eat meat and you consume dairy, and yet you're still iron deficient. It's not just because you're a woman and you bleed. Because that's what they tell you when you go to the doctor. You're a woman, you bleed, you're going to lose your iron every single month, so you have to take iron supplements. No. When you're eating the foods that you need to be eating, your iron won't be depleted through the head, like through the floor. But when you're sitting here not getting what you need, you're lacking that connection with the body. When you're sitting here thinking it's because you lack motivation, but instead your body has been depleted all throughout the month. And so then now you're depleted when it comes to your minerals, your vitamins. These are deficiencies that come from a lack of nutrients. It's not a deficiency that comes from your body naturally being a woman. Because we do research based on a men's body. Because that's the reason why they say you're bleeding, you're menstruating, your iron's going to be low because you're a woman. Because they didn't do any tests on women's body to understand how to get iron balanced in the body. They did tests on men's body to see how their iron operates every single month and goes, well, your body doesn't do that when we do blood tests. So that means you're just, because you're a woman, your iron is going to deplete naturally because you're bleeding. But the process that the body goes through for a woman every single month, when you're cycle syncing and you understand what the body is doing, that is a restoration week. That is not a week for your body to be depleted and suffering. It is a week for your body to get back in balance, to release what it doesn't need, and then that next week for you to feel like nothing ever happened and you feeling like rainbows and sunshine again. But when you're not and you're feeling like you have to do a pick-me-up, you're sitting here saying, that was a rough week. Goodness, I'm going to have to get back and I'm going to have to chase and hustle and do this and I'm going to have to catch up with this. You weren't set up in alignment with your cycle. Because during that week, you're supposed to be building back that relationship with your body by knowing what you have done and what you haven't done for the month. So if you're suffering, if it's heavy, if you're dealing with all the PMSing symptoms, that means you didn't eat properly to set the body up for restoration and reset during the time that it's releasing. But when you do these things and you reconnect with the body, you know how to cycle sync with all 4 phases of your cycle. You are eating and operating according to how you should every single day. You're resting when you need to. You're planning your days accordingly. Alignment has a natural flow and a natural rhythm, and you won't have to overthink everything. Because when you're not operating according to your cycle as a woman, we have to be in a chaotic state because we don't know what we need. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest. Because it's deeper than just, oh, I did some grounding, I did some root work, I know what my body needs based on my emotions, I know how to feel my emotions, but you don't understand when you're supposed to rest. You don't understand when your body goes in a more insulin resistant time. You don't know when it's appropriate for you to fast and you should only eat fruits, raw foods, so that it helps the body. You don't know when to work out the best, to work out the hardest. You don't know when it's time for you just to stretch. You don't know when it's best for you to just do cardio, because these are times as a woman. There are each phase. There are times that we should be doing these things. When you don't know when your metabolism stabilizes itself naturally, and this is the best time for you to be able to do weight training. Like, you really aren't operating according to how the body needs to be operated with. Instead, you're operating against it. And then we wonder why every single month our cycle is so terrible. It's so painful. Your body has to be able to trust you. But when it cannot trust you, it feels like it's working against you. And so then we turn around and say, well, it's just a part of being a woman and I'm going to have to suffer. Because you don't have to suffer. You have to look deeper into why it's not working. And if you were looking for long game alignment, if you were looking for an understanding about, okay, so how do I get into my feminine rhythm? How do I get to cycle syncing, balancing my hormones? How do I gain this energy back? And just overall learning how I live in a space where I work with my body instead of working against my body. My Balanced Body program helps you be able to understand in that 6 weeks that it's not just short-term control, but it's long-term alignment and understanding exactly how we get in the space of sustaining our health journey and sustaining hormonal flow. Because we aren't taught how to sync with our cycle in this society. And so that's the reason why so many women are dealing with physical chaos, and they're fatigued. They're dealing with these cravings, inflammation. You're having the issues of stubborn weight and bloating, the emotional chaos that you're going through, thinking that PMSing is normal, the irritability, anxiety. And then you sitting here thinking that You have low effort and low motivation when it's really just the fact that you feel like you don't deserve any better because that's what society teaches you. You don't focus on your cycle this week. You don't rest. You don't support your body when you're actually having PMSing symptoms because PMSing is normal. But it's not normal. It's common, but that's not normal. Thank you for the likes. I really appreciate you guys. It's not normal to be PMSing. We have given it a label and made it cute. Oh, I'm just PMSing. I'm about to start my cycle. But that's not normal. PMSing is a sign from your body to let you know you have not been giving enough things that you need for you to be set up for the time that you were getting ready to menstruate. And a lot of the reason is because you aren't eating enough nutrients to set yourself up for the time that you are releasing. Products have a hand in that if you're using toxic products. If you are still using commercial pads and tampons, I'm going to let you know now that is throwing off yourself hormonally all throughout the week you're supposed to be releasing. And women don't realize this, and then you go decades. Do you know there are women out here who don't have cramps, who don't have blood clots, who have regular cycles that feel normal, that are normal, that don't even really hinder them during the week of their cycle? But as women of color, because the women that I work with, I work with a lot of women of color. Women of color have never seen a normal cycle. They have never experienced a normal cycle, a non-painful cycle. And so when I bring that up and I'm like, oh, it's possible for you to do that. You know the first thing that they say? Herbs. Well, I started trying to take these herbs, or I want to know what herbs you take. And I say to them, like, I have tea right here, right now, but I don't have to depend on herbs. I'm setting myself up because it's a cold time. I know how my body is. Your body naturally, when you are going through your cycle, by the way, if you are on your cycle, this is a tidbit I teach way more in my program. But when you are on your cycle, your body wants to be warm. This is the reason why you crave warm things, baths, heating pads, just being in the most comfortable clothing, etc., right? Your body wants to be warm. So setting yourself up during that time is amazing, and you should be doing that. But when you haven't set yourself up with the foods that you eat, the products that you use, working out throughout the month, you taking an herb right before your cycle so it's not painful is not going to work. And that's what I tell women who either book a one-on-one with me or they try to get in my DMs, ask me about what herbs that I start taking to balance my cycle. And I say the same thing. I did not start taking herbs and it actually being effective until I started eating correctly. Because I got on the facade of buying a whole bunch of herbs and trying different things while I was still eating the crap. And I'm going to tell you now, it doesn't work. It's just like a prescription where you're managing. So you take an iron supplement, you're sitting here taking magnesium, you're sitting here taking whatever supplement that you think you're taking, and you're helping your body manage, right? But you're not helping fix the problem. So you're going to consistently take iron for the rest of your life. You're telling me until the age that you pass away, you're going to be taking iron? No. So as somebody who used to be iron deficient, borderline anemic, I am telling you, I don't take an iron supplement anymore. I don't have to depend on herbs. I don't have to depend on teas. I take them because they add on to what I'm already doing. How are you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. But when you're sitting here thinking that this is the way for you to regulate your nervous system or learn how to be able to support your system is taking herbs, it's not going to help you in the way that you think. Because it's going to keep managing just like any other prescription you go to the doctor and get. But when you're using food as your medicine and you actually learn what products, what things are toxic, what are terrible, and replace those, you will see how you really don't need them. And if you do feel like you need something or you're not getting enough, then we add in herbs. Then we start supporting ourselves with something else to add. Not a quick, fast solution, but build the habits that help us be able to be the healthiest version of ourselves that we possibly can be. You said, my menstrual cycle is very light. It feels concerning. No, it should be. It's a weird concept. Obviously, it's not going to be as light as a dog, but you should think about it as a dog. Because I'm going to be 1,000% honest. I have somebody in my life who has always had a balanced cycle. She's never had a cramp. She has never had any issues like I have ever witnessed, experienced in my life or witnessed with other women that I work with. And I'm going to tell you, if you have ever seen a dog menstruate, that's how you should be viewing it. Where they can walk around, they could go on about their business, and they're not going to be bleeding all over the place. It might leave a little trickle, a little spot there or whatever, but they're not bleeding all over the place. There are women out here who have light cycles that are the way that it should be, that can literally walk around with just like a folded, what's it called? Toilet paper and make it through. That not a couple hours. They can make it through for majority of the day by just folding up some more tissue paper, replacing it. Folding up some more tissue paper, replace it. Because when I first started my cycle, that's how I was. But as my body started to be like, okay, you're not changing your habits and you're not seeing this as the reason why you're cramping, my cycle got heavier and heavier and heavier. And as I started to not rest, I'm playing sports, I'm stressing my body out even more, high cortisol, college tests, all the different things. My body started to show me more what high cortisol, high stress states look like. And I realized once I was completely imbalanced, this is the reason why my body was doing this. This is the reason why I thought birth control was going to work and it didn't. This is the reason why my doctor was telling me that I shouldn't take birth control. It's not because, oh, the birth control doesn't work, but it's because it literally throws off your hormones more. It's not the fact that your body is turning against you, but it's because you are hormonally chaotic because you're not supposed to be eating these foods, especially all throughout the month. Majority of women and men are taught that fruits and vegetables are an option, a side. They're not an option. They're a necessity. They're the main course of what you should be eating. But when you're taught and what they're teaching you about eating all this inflammatory food, this is the reason why you're so inflamed on the inside and you don't menstruate the correct way. This is the reason why we don't understand what a proper menstruation feels like and looks like, let alone all the cycle phases. Because PMSing that happens before, that is a cycle phase. That is a repercussion of you not doing what you were needing to do before that phase before then, the phase before then, the phase when you ended menstruating the first time. So do you see the full circle of how your month gets thrown off just by you not operating according to what your body is telling you? Because we sync with the earth. And so just like the earth has seasons, our body has seasons, and we go through the season every single month, the seasons every single month. Everything you're saying is true. I hope other women join and take heed. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Right now, I'm pretty sure I'm on TikTok jail. I have messaged them. They did not message me back. All the shares, all the likes, all the gifts coming back, it helps because we're still reaching people, even though they do have me on TikTok jail, and I do appreciate it. Like I say, I teach more and go in depth. How you doing, Angel? Welcome in my program, because there's so much I can't say on TikTok because they keep putting me in jail and I don't want to lose my account. We're growing. We're building more women. I have over 100 women on my email list. And that's where they know if I'm on TikTok jail or if something does happen, where we're going, where we're going to be, as well as YouTube, because I have quite a few women that are like, oh, I came from YouTube and etc. Thank you for the follows. But just knowing what I know and how I can help other women has helped me be able to realize that the Most High gave me a gift that a lot of people will never be able to inhabit, because it's something that we're all able to do, but it's a matter of having the mindset around what you're doing and how you do it. And so as someone who asked him when I was in college, why is this not working for me? Why can I not hold a stable weight even though I've been active all my life? How come I have to starve myself and be hungry all day in order for me to achieve my weight goals and it never stays? And I realized it's because you're not eating what you need to be eating. And then I started cutting certain things out, and I understood where the chaos was coming from and how I was operating in a chaotic state. Because when you think of the all or nothing foundation of what they teach you with diet culture, you start today, you do it now. If you don't do it now, if you don't throw everything away, it's all or nothing. If you fail tomorrow, it's all or nothing. Throw everything, all the progress out the window. I would have never been plant-based, because that's what diet culture teaches you. And I say this all the time because it's not something that hindered me. I ate meat within the first, I think, 2 or 3 months of me being plant-based. I had a piece of chicken again. It made me sick. I got a meat headache, but I was like, hey, I wanted to see, I'm like, man, let me see if chicken tastes the same. It didn't. I didn't even like it, and I got a meat headache from it. I slipped up, I think, like 6 months into my journey and ate something that had eggs in it. Had no clue. But if you have the mindset of all or nothing, you are never going to be able to flow in a space of being healthier, because the foundation is rocky. It has cracks. All or nothing mentality means that you have to do it with perfection. And there is no perfection in learning how to be healthier when you are taught in a space that is not healthy. And even when you are in the foundation of eating healthier, being healthier, taking care of your body, being hormonally balanced, having one bad month does not mean that you failed and that you go back to the old lifestyle and it is what it is. But you have to understand the difference between being in a space of stimulation versus being in the space of stabilization, and knowing what a foundation on stabilization looks like. Because stability doesn't mean that Your whole entire life is going to be boring, and it's going to be, oh, I have to eat salads all the time, and it's going to be so bland. But knowing that you having a stable foundation is knowing what plant-based foods to cook when you want a steak and you know you don't need to eat a steak. Knowing what it looks like for you to make a dairy-free dish that tastes the same. You have to set yourself up in this space, but release burnout first. You can't sit in a hormonally chaotic state in the mind and then expect everything else to work out. The mind is a big place that you have to start working when you are on a health journey, as well as the emotional, the physical. Because if you have subconsciously trained yourself in the emotional space of I'm going to starve, I'm going to be hungry, I'm going to be angry all day, that's what you're going to be. But when you know that, okay, so in order for me to not be hungry and to starve myself, I have to have foods to help me get through my day if I'm at work. So that means I'm going to have grab and goes. I'm going to have different, whether it's fruits in a in a glass container, vegetables, avocados already, a little seasoning on the side, having a granola bar too, different things to set yourself up. And I'm not saying just eat the granola bar, but the point is having a plethora of different things that you can pick at. So by lunchtime, you're not starving and waiting for French fries, but you're hungry now, but you're not starving, and you have enough discernment to say, well, I do have extra avocado. I can eat that for dinner. Can eat that until dinner. Or better yet, I know that there's a vegan place that might be a little further, but I can fly over there. I can go get something and then have some real food for lunch. Or I packed myself a lunch. I already prepared for this because I was somebody who did not like packing lunches. But I found the healthier options for vegan foods because there's all types of options. Unhealthy, healthy, etc. I chose a healthier option, and I was eating there more commonly than me going to get French fries. But I had to set myself up for that because the first couple of months of me working my big girl job, being in the city, having to be there early, didn't want to prep any food, I was eating a whole lot of French fries. And I started to notice how unhealthy I was getting. And I'm plant-based, mind you. So I'm sitting here telling everybody, I'm like, I know I'm gaining weight. It's not like I'm not feeling right. They're telling me I look good. You don't look any different. But I'm sitting there feeling myself off already. Even if I haven't gained any weight, I feel bigger, and I knew that, and I felt that, but I wasn't able to feel that when I first before I went plant-based. And you know why I wasn't able to feel that? Because I didn't know what the body felt like in a normal space. I knew what was common to my body, but I didn't know what the norm was for my body. When I was plant-based and I was stabilized in it, I knew what it felt like. So when I finally got thrown off, like I said, about 6 months or three, however many months it was of me working my big girl job, and it was a couple months of me just eating French fries for lunch, I understood. I said, no, this is not how my body normally operates. And so then I started to actually have a structure that supported me, that was sustainable. So I knew this place is only about 10 minutes down the road. There's another place that's about 15 minutes down the road. There's another place, if I really do want a sweet treat and I want a little vegan snack, I can go over here, but it is further. I'm not going to go here all the time. So I had things set up for okay, it's Friday. It has been a hard week. I really do want to treat myself because I've been good. Because you still get treats in you being healthy. And when you think that you don't deserve a treat, this is the same thing of how you talk to children, if you think about it, because you're reparenting a habit. You have to think about yourself just as the way that you think of a little 5-year-old. You don't tell a little 5-year-old that every single time that they get a question right, that they get a sticker, and then they get the question right and they're waiting for their sticker, and then you look at them and say, well, I don't think you deserve a sticker this week, not because necessarily you haven't done what you were supposed to do, but because I don't feel like giving you a sticker today. Because when that little child hears you say, well, I don't think I'm going to give you a sticker today, that hurts their feelings. And you do the same thing to yourself. You think you've been doing good. Maybe you do want to have a sweet treat, or maybe you just want to give yourself some type of treat me of whatever. Maybe you want to go try this Pilates class. And then you sit back and go, well, I don't know if I'm going to do that actually. I think I'd rather just hold on to the money. What are you holding on to the money for? You work hard for your money and you don't want to give yourself a little treat of some sort, if it's just you going and walking in the park, going to a museum. Because you have to think about these things, because this helps your mental health. This keeps you in the space of taking care of yourself. It's deeper than just, oh, I need to eat better. It's a mentality. When you sit back and you work as hard as you do, because people work so hard for their money, thank you for reposting the live, and you don't understand that when you're working hard for your money, money is there to be spent. It's not just blow it away. but it's there. You're working hard for it. So what are you going to do to reward yourself with it? And this is what I talk to women that work in my program with me, because they'll sit here and they'll work in the program with me. My program is $9.97. Okay, it's transparency. You can get a recliner for my afterpay. There's no hidden, because you get 6 weeks undivided attention from me. So it's at $9.97. So I'm like, you pay almost $1,000 to come work with me in my program, correct? Okay. And so then I bring up and I'm like, okay, what do you do for yourself for self-care? What do we do for the mental? What do we do when we get off from work? Sit in front of the TV, we eat snacks. Maybe we don't eat snacks, we starve ourselves, and then we just get ready to go to bed. And I'm like, that's it? And I used to be there, so I understand, but I'm like, that's it? Thank you for sharing the live. And majority of women, they're like, yeah, I have kids, I have family, etc. I'm not dating, or I am dating. I only go out on the weekends. And I'm like, and that's perfectly fine if you go out on the weekends, but what do you do for self-care? Because going out on the weekends is going to brunch is a great social, it's a social aspect. But what do you do for yourself? Because I like art. So I used to sit down and have a moment for myself, going to do pottery, going to paint, just sitting down at the lake and going to paint, having a dinner to myself. Sometimes I just want to be outside, you know? It's a matter of what makes you feel good, because women are doing these things because of what social media tells them to do. But when I ask you what is something that you are interested in, they start listing off things that they've seen on social media that they want to try. And I'm like, okay, but what have you done? And a lot of the times it's nothing. Do we meet with you every day, a certain time with your program? When you're in my program, even though like when you book one-on-ones, I have a set amount of time that's usually a 9 to 5 setting. And a lot of people are like, well, I work a 9 to 5. And I'm like, only time that I tailor my one-on-one sessions is for the program. The program, you have me at any time that you are needing with our app. And then we have one session a week that is like a one-on-one, whether it's a masterclass or it is something that we need to work on for ourselves, like individually, or your individual self, for like far as like first week we're working on mindset, second week we're working on food, third week we're working on like medications and non-toxic products, or whichever one, because I have it in like a set schedule for the weeks. So it's working on what we've talked about for that week. We have a portal, but we do have one-on-one sessions every single week. Yes, we meet up, and then you have access to me to an app, through an app every single day, as much as you need, for whether it's question assignments or questions about the assignments, or just questions about anything that you have going on, products, etc. Because I had one client who, she had just gotten home from grocery shopping, and she really wanted to show me all the things that she had gotten for her and her daughter, based off of the work that we had done that week. And so she was showing me all the different things, and she had some great options, and I was like, these are the great options that you start with to understand, because I was telling her like different things about grains, and she had a bunch of products with rice, and I was saying, if your daughter is heavy on rice, this is a great place for you to start winging her away from getting rice and more into quinoa, because it's a healthier version of, like, I think it was like it was ramen. That's what it was. She was saying noodles. And so I was telling her, this is a great place for you to get away from ramen noodles itself and getting her into a rice noodle, because she was saying how picky she is. And I was like, eventually we can start working her up to like cheesy quinoa, sweet quinoa, thing like that, because that'll help her be able to get away from just eating pasta every day, because she was saying that's like her main thing, is eating ramen and pasta. And so I work with women who work in 9 to 5 settings. She was actually a nurse who had just changed jobs, mothers, etc. Like, I work with women of all walk of life, because the program is tailored to you. That's the difference between like just having a one-on-one with us, is because with me, us having a one-on-one is not really able to tailor it to you in one session. But you having 6 weeks of us working with you, us working together with you, I keep saying us working with you, but us working together for those 6 weeks, it's tailored to your life and tailored to what works for you. If you can't get on until 8 o'clock, I'm there for you at 8 o'clock. If you need an earlier session, I'm there for you in the early session. If you need master classes, they're going to help you be able to get into the mindset when we first start, we do that. So it's just a matter of exactly what helps you be able to stop chasing and stop hustling and getting in alignment and feeling comfortable, because by the end, the goal for that program is for you to be able to sustain your health, be able to sustain your health journey, to understand what it looks like to be in a space that is comfortable in being plant-based. Because like I said, not everybody's journey is not going to be to stay plant-based all of their life. And that's understandable. But it's knowing why it's important for you to be in this space. Why it's important for you to eat the way that you should be eating. Should I go to the chiropractor and get a massage and acupuncture for my self-care? Yes. That's exactly what we should be doing. Like, these are things, something that you enjoy, not just what social media tells you you should try to go enjoy. Because I know everybody is like on the Pilates trend, and like, I want to try Pilates, but what I've been thinking about for years is that I want to try aerial. I'm going to try aerial before I try Pilates. And that's just because that's something that I want to do. That is something that I'm working up towards. As somebody who doesn't like being in the gym and has not been in the gym for years, it gives me a little anxiety. And so I'm planning on hopefully being able to go with a friend. But if I can't go with a friend, then I'm going to go by myself, because that's something that I view myself as having an enjoyment in doing. Not just because like, oh, I need to get out there and because society's telling me, but because I know that if I get in that setting and I actually enjoy doing aerial, the social anxiety will be gone. I'm a very social person once I get in the space. Thinking about the space makes me anxious. And as somebody who doesn't have anxiety from not eating enough and getting nutrients, I can tell you that my anxiety is not stemming from the stress from work and kids and family and everything else, which I don't have kids, but you know what I mean? It's not coming from every other source where I can't pinpoint where it's coming from. This anxiety is just coming from trying something new. Anxiety always comes from trying something new, because you don't know, it's unknown. And if you're somebody who's like me, who has recognized this about themselves, you like the know. You like the things that you can actually pinpoint and know. And so, and when you guys see me, when you see me in my aerial class in the next couple of weeks, because I'm going to be joining me in aerial class, just know, either I'm going to post it on I don't know if I'm going to post it on my page or my story, but if you're checking it out, if you're tuning in, or if you're on my email list, I'm going to be sending out some pictures, because I'm going to be in my aerial class and I'm going to be hanging from the ceiling. But if you are not in the program, or you want to check out the program, it is linked in my bio. Do you guys have any other questions for me at all? And if you don't have any questions for me, I'm going to hop off. Any questions? Any questions about the program? Any questions about balancing your hormones? Chaos to calm? Anything like that? Any questions at all? And I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday, a great start to your week. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, it won't be Monday, but it will be sometime this week. I'm pre-diabetic and I just thought about removing chicken and pork with added sugar was enough. I'm still learning. No, it is not enough. I have my Eating Away Diabetes cookbook where I break down more. And I also have a masterclass where I break down exactly what is going on and why so many people think that just eating chicken, because a lot of people come to me saying, which obviously that's not what you said, but a lot of people come to me saying, I just eat chicken, I don't eat that much meat. And I'm like, chicken feeds type 2 diabetes. They don't talk about that, but it's the inflammatory properties that is in meat that causes you to get sick. Meat is not the same quality of what it used to be, and it's highly inflammatory. The same thing with dairy. Dairy has never been something we were supposed to consume, and it's highly inflammatory. Now it goes through a full process of stripping all of its nutrients, and they add in nutrients. And the same thing with meat. There's no way for meat to be on a shelf, to be frozen, and to not change colors unless they add colors to it. The same thing how meat is, or a animal is antibiotic free, but there's no way for that animal to be completely healthy and antibiotic free. And a lot of these factories will cut out cancer and still sell you the meats. So the meat will still be cancerous, but they cut out the cancer because cancer has a color, it has a smell, it has an odor. All they do is colorize the meat, change the smell to it, and then freeze it and put it on the packaging and put it on the shelf for you to eat in your package. And so I became weary of all of that, knowing what they were doing to our food, knowing how legal it is. Yes, because majority of these animals are not grass-fed animals. Like, for instance, how they'll say, like, your beef was grass-fed, cows are grass-fed, they're pasture-raised, and all these different things. I was reading watching this great man who has this book about permaculture and etc. He used to work in a government facility of permaculture. He was talking about the fact that a lot of people don't realize that cows were forest animals until we put them on farms, and that throws off their emotional state and their internal system, and it puts them in the same space as like how when they know they're going to the slaughterhouse, but they live in that environment, and that's not normal. Cows are farm animals. I mean, they're not farm animals, excuse me. They're forest animals. We put them on farms. Cows like berries. They like vegetation all over, of not just grass. And they're not healthy on just eating grass. And so he had the same talk about if they're not giving them antibiotics and they cannot be healthy just eating grass, what are they doing to the animals? These animals can be genetically modified and they don't have to tell you. So you have to be weary about these labels and how they market them, because people are so worried about something being inorganic or organic, but then they come back and they're talking about they only eat grass fed, they only eat pasture raised eggs, and etc. And I'm like, these animals don't even thrive on farms the way that we're taught. We cut down all the trees and all the vegetation, put them only on a grassy plain, and then the animals are sick. It's not because the animals get sick because of the environment. They're getting sick because we're not giving them what they're supposed to be doing, which is a natural environment. They're supposed to be naturally grazing through the forest so they can eat berries, because we know how dogs get. Dogs get an upset stomach. They go outside, they eat grass. They know what their body is needing, and that's the reason why they're sniffing and trying to figure out what plant is going to settle their stomach. So why do you not think that the animals that are of the forest, like the cows, how the chickens are raised, how pigs are raised, they're not supposed to figure out their own digestive tract? We're telling them what they need. And a lot of these grass-fed animals are just thrown grass at. So if you've seen any of the horrific animal videos on TikTok, I got on like a rabbit hole of them. A lot of them are strapped in, like they're still in a barn. They're strapped in, and they're fed grass through a machine that just turns grass. And it's very chaotic and very loud. This is their grass fed. This is how they feed their animals. A lot of them are fed wheat and soy is genetically modified. A lot of the soy is not organic. So you just have to be aware of what's going on, not to stress you out, but just to understand that there's a lot deeper than just the labeling. You said, I wonder why chicken gave me the egg all of a sudden. Even when it's cooked, I'm disgusted by it. That was me when I was like first trying chicken back when I first had gone plant-based. And I was like, well, let me just try some chicken. I realized it's not the same. And you get so used to the taste of things that you don't understand how toxic it smells, how toxic it feels, until you get out of the space of constantly consuming it. And when I was out of the space of constantly consuming it, now being 5 years into being plant-based, I'm telling you, the smell of different meats, I can tell what kind of meat you're eating. I can tell what fast food you're eating. I can literally smell it in the air and tell what, like, especially if it's cooked in like canola oil, vegetable oil, how toxic and how chaotic and inflammatory it is. And as crazy as it sounds, that's just how your senses change. Because, and if you think about it, because I laugh when I think about it, but it's like a pregnant woman. You know how pregnant women, how their senses change and it heightens, and you're like, goodness, like they're just like, it smells different. I've never been pregnant, but I'm telling you, it's like that now. Like, I'm like, I can see why pregnant women get sick off of smelling meats, and they get sick off of smelling certain smells, because it's literally like you just sit back and you're like, it smells like that for real? And a lot of people don't realize, like, you're putting that in your body, like a chitlin, for example, and it comes out because it has to go through your digestive tract. It has to go through your body with that same smell. That's not okay. It's not okay at all. But I'm not seeing any more questions. I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. This has been a great live. I really appreciate you guys for being here. I try to go live at least 3 times a week, so we'll try to go live again 2 times more this week. If you're on my email list, then you know what would be a substitute for butter. There's plant-based butter. Not only can you make your own plant-based butter, but you can also buy it. There's plant-based butter. Because butter itself is just milk. Like, it's just dairy. Like, if you just get rid of the dairy products and you start making plant-based. I know some people are allergic to nuts and etc. There's different ways. It's just a matter of knowing how. It's in low iron. When I'm on my cycle, I crave steak. What can I eat in place of that? If you're having an issue with iron deficiency, I am somebody who had a low iron count, who was being watched for borderline anemic, was not at the levels that it needs to be, and I do not deal with that anymore. But that's because I eat my iron in a plant-based form. A lot of women should be doing that, but you have to do it according to your cycle, because, for instance, when you're on your cycle and you're craving that steak, for example, that's because you didn't set yourself up with enough iron before you started menstruating, and then replenish as you go along. So instead, your body's trying to play catch up, and that's the reason why you're craving steak heavily. It's because you're playing catch up when you shouldn't be playing catch up during the time of your release and your reset. You should be playing the role of managing, because that's what you need. You need a balanced iron base during that time. I was trying to think which one I have it under. I can't remember which one I have it under right now at this very second, but I know that I have, because I have plenty of cookbooks that go and dive deeper and etc. into eating plant-based and getting all the nutrients that you need. And I feel like my eating away diabetes cookbook, that's what it is, because my eating away diabetes cookbook is deeper than just diabetes, because it breaks down eating a rainbow plate. So it breaks down what your greens do, what your reds do, what your yellows do, like eating a rainbow plate, so you can understand how nutrients comes from you eating a variety of different colors of foods. And so that's what I focused on doing, instead of me sitting back going, okay, so I need this much spinach and I need this many nuts, proteins, and I need this. But understanding, if you were eating a different color, a variety of foods, you're going to be getting the nutrients that you need, but you have to be doing this consistently throughout your week, throughout your month, and etc. And this is how you gain everything that you need without starving yourself and without having to do the most. Because as somebody who has a scale in my kitchen for me to be able to weigh out my dog's food, I don't want to be sitting here weighing out all my food of, okay, this is this many milligrams for me to be able to eat this, and this is this many grams, and I need this much protein a day. I understand that me eating a whole avocado is enough protein for me to get right now, so I'm not going to be hungry later. Eating 2 avocados today is more protein than or enough protein that I need for the whole day. And then everything else I add is extra. But I had to get to this space. It wasn't just like I just jumped overnight and was like, okay, I know everything I need to eat. It took trial and error. And so that's what I teach in my program, is to cut out the trial and error and to actually just dive deeper into, this is what you need to do. This is how we do it. And let's sustain it by having these habits. We have to change, making those small little changes to help us adjust and adapt. So I really hope that this has helped you guys. I'm going to hop off. Thank you for all the questions. If you have any questions about the program, or if any of the links are not working, please DM me and let me know. You are so welcome. Like I said, I try to go live at least 3 times a week. If you're on my email list, you'll know exactly when I go live. And because TikTok is weird about the notifications. If you have not followed me, go ahead and follow. We talk about, this is the topic that we talk about, that we've been talking about all year, is balancing our hormones, and really making the connections of alignment and understanding how women need to start cycle syncing and really diving deeper into that. So like I said, if you're not on my email list, get on there. And if you have missed any of this live and want to catch the full thing, it will be posted on my YouTube. So go check out my YouTube. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday, and peace, y'all. I am